Hello and welcome to the second tutorial of the second series, and in this tutorial I'll be showing you how to structurize a project, and then the next tutorial will be applets. I've tried making this before, however it seems to go into the depth to show the understanding so that you can add it all up in your brain and make sense of it. It ends up being a little bit too long for it to also be the tutorial on how to structure an applet. So this tutorial will be on how to structure a project, as to how I do it, and the second tutorial, which was going to just be one tutorial, will be on how to structure an applet. So if we just go ahead and make a new folder, I'm just going to call this example, and this is what I do each time. I'd either just archive this, and then each time I want to set up a new project, just extract it out, tweak it a little bit, call it something else, I don't know, calculator if I'm making a calculator or something, and then add all my code into that, etc. So we've got our folder, and we're going to need to make two new folders inside here. We're going to need a class folder to store our class files, and we're going to need a source folder, or SRC, to store our source files. We're going to need a compiler, so we're going to call this one.compile, because then that way it's structured as the first file, because if you have multiple batch files it gets kind of annoying because you want them to be in a certain order, because I'm used to using the keyboard up and down to compile, but you can obviously just call it compiler if you like. And now that we have that, we can add the code into here. So we're going to say @echo off, and if we just quickly look at CMD, we can say @echo off, and then now we can type without seeing the C/users/Stephen, etc. Because you don't really need to see that every single time when you're just using a pre-programmed batch file or command script. So we're going to then say java c dash, and we need to know what the commands are. I'm not just going to assume things here. I'm just going to show you how you would find it out so that you can apply the logic behind rather than you just learning what I'm trying to show you in this tutorial. I'm going to show you how I know it so that you can apply it more broadly and be able to do more things with it. So to work out how are you going to use this, java c, well, you can type in java c -help, and it will tell you all of the functions. And as you can see, each function is used with the little dash, just like I did when I used the -help, which is also a function or an argument of this program. So pretty much we're going to need to be able to say, where are the class files, where's the class path? And if you look on here, we've got CP, or class path, specifies where to find user class files and annotation processors. So we're just pretty much going to say CP. You can say class path, but CP is so much shorter, and you're just going to need to specify where that class path is. And for us, we've specified it as being class. And then we're also going to need to specify the directory, and on here we have D directory. Specify where to place the generated class files. So when it compiles, where are we going to put them? Well, that's also class, so we're going to say C. But as we're treating this as a directory, we're going to say the current directory, where we're running this compiler, / class, and that's where it's going to place the files. And now that we've done that, we can then just say source / and then we're going to say all Java files. So it's going to compile all Java files. And now we're going to need to make a Java file. So if we just click right click, new file, text document, and then just select all that up, we can say our applet. I'm going to just call it our applet because that's what the follow-on tutorial will be, and it will save me some time. So now that we've got our applet, we can just throw some code in there. Oh, sorry, class our applet. So I've pretty much just said public, because this class is going to be accessed by other classes, even though it's not, but I'm just going to go with it. Class, because it's a class. The name of it is the same as what we've just called the file, our applet. You may have something different. It is case sensitive, so you need to ensure that the case is correct, meaning that there's an uppercase O and an uppercase A. We can then define the public static void main string art. So now I'm going to put my array annotation on the actual data type rather than the name. You can say string hello, or you can say string hello with the array brackets on the name. However, there's a thing called convention, which is also a conventional way to structure this rather than it just all being like that or like that. It's called convention. The majority of people will do it in a certain way, and that certain way is the conventional way of doing it. And it's always important to work towards conventions and ensuring that you annotate your code like so. And I can say on here, this is our main method. That's all I really need. And then later on, when I add some stuff in it, the main method will, I don't know, generate an outprint saying hello world or something. It's just, even though it may seem kind of pointless at this point, but when you're working in a large with a large group of people and you have hundreds and hundreds of class files, it gets hectic. So it's good to annotate all your code. And most companies you work with will expect you to annotate your code and to have good convention. Right, so we have our main method. So let's just say system.out.print like new. There we go, so we've got our hello world, and now let's see if the compiler works. Class, okay, so we've got our class file, and just for the sake of this, I'm going to make the second file, which we're just going to call run, cmd, and I'm just going to say add echo off, and Java, because we're going to be using Java to run the program, but how do we say where to find the file? So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to say java-help, and then we're going to look at, right, so we've got here, we can specify the class path for a zip/jar file or an archive. Okay, so normally you would just specify the file name. So if we just say, okay, well, we're going to be running our applet. We don't need to specify that it's a class file because it's the only thing it can be, and the directory for this will be in class. Oh wait, I need to pause that. And there we go, hello world. So we said here the class path is in class, and the name of the program we're trying to run, or the class file that we're trying to run, is our applet. And then when it runs, we know it works because it's saying here hello world. And if we change that to hello world 2, quickly come back here and compile again, and then run again, we get hello 2. So it is in fact calling out this and isn't just like running some echo inside here, because we can just say echo hello world, and now we'll get hello world and hello world 2. Hello world from the file and hello world from the class file or source code. Okay, so we now have the main structure of the project set up. So we've got a source folder, we've got a class folder, we've managed to compile successfully the source code into the class folder, we've set up the compiler, the run, and that's pretty much it. So from there, I can go on to the second tutorial and stop screwing up with my mouse. I need to buy a new mouse, big time. Raging whilst coding, not a good idea. Right, okay, so now we can go on to the second tutorial where I'll show you how to structure an applet. Thanks for watching.